Oh,
Sit there
Yeah.
while I
It's okay.
fetch myself a drink.
It's okay, Bird. You can come out. You can come out now.
it's not that. Just what I have in the other fanfic I have. Fine.
What is it? Spit it out!
It's just,
Been birded.
it's comedy. It's another fanfiction. It's another Sparkle Center fanfiction. It's a.
Fair enough.
You're really scaring me, man. I'm just gonna wait for Gonzo to get back.
Yeah.
Oh my fuck. I've never been scared of somebody in my whole life.
Well, this is what you get for making me voice a dark character.
You guys are
And I
getting
have-
choppy.
And I have you to thank for it.
Yay? I think.
I'm now your worst nightmare.
Okay, I was trying desperately not to piss her off, but yeah, the other fic I have, is Gonzo still there?
Hold on.
It's the quality thing again.
Oh.
I think I should host a call.
You are hosting the call.
No, it's not. It doesn't say on my end.
Huh?
Huh?
You ended up becoming host of the call when you added I Am Shadow.
Okay, why don't I just end it and then you come back in?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Okay. Better?
Better. A little
Let's see how
bit.
let's see how
Okay.
that goes. I totally didn't expect that.
All right. Fanfic
Uh,
number 2.
So, Timeless Toaster, yes, we've read Patty Cakes, both parts 1 and 2, way back when. Remember that, Gonzo?
Ages.
But what were you saying now, Twilight?
So what's the next fanfic we're gonna read?
I was trying desperately not to piss her off, but yeah, the other fanfiction I have. Oh man, you got me nervous now.
Just say it.
Okay. It's another Twilight Sparkle-centric fanfiction. The fanfiction by Fan Not a Nerd is called There.
What?
Okay. We'll read it.
Okay. It's actually what?
Link me.
Okay.
The fact-
Yes.
I'm kind of confused. There? That's the title?
Like, as in, like, you know, oh, they're, though the second there is they are. Like,
Yeah.
the contraction.
This one's a lengthy one. Might take another live stream to finish, but I don't know. I don't know what the fuck we're getting into with this one. More so with the last one.
This better not break me like the last one.
Ah, that's
And everybody's going like, God damn it, not another!
Comedy and adventure. This shouldn't be too bad, hopefully.
You're making me nervous now. I'm Shadow. I'm serious.
Alright, let's go.
Okay. Yes, let's dig into There by what was it? There by Fan Not a Nerd.
Should have gone, there they are, or something like that.
I think that's you.
Hang on.
Oh, where is it?
Spike ducked his hardcover novels, sheaves of research notes, and a pair of whitey math textbooks went flying past. Maybe he left it in the... He started, but cut himself off as a quill flew past with lethal force, the sharpened tip embedding itself a full inch into the solid oak of Twilight's workbench. Holy crap!
What?
What?
A quill flew past him with lethal force, the sharpened tip embedding itself a full inch into the solid oak of Twilight's workbench. Holy crap!
What is she looking for that's got her in such a tizzy?
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. Ugh. The dragon settled for resting his elbow on a discarded stack of spell tomes, tapping his claws against his chin and watching with resigned disinterest at the mess that Twilight was making of her library. The lavender unicorn had herself worked into a full-blown panic searching for some obscure theory textbook, as happened roughly once a month.
theory.
Spike himself had formulated several possible theories as to why this happened, fortified with some misinterpreted and out-of-context theory taken from several of Twilight's books. His current favorite was that all matter naturally and spontaneously fell into a higher degree of disorder. Twilight, being obsessed with her organization, contradicted this rule and every so often needed to make a complete mess of things to get the tendency toward disorder out of her system. Unfortunately, no matter what theories he came up with to explain her behavior, he was still stuck with cleaning up the mess while Twilight trotted happily away, all anxiety forgotten, the book in question hovering beside her. It usually took her about 15 minutes for her to pull nearly every book off the shelf and fling them around the library before finding the one she was looking for on a table or something. However, this particular episode had already gone for nearly 20 minutes and showed no sign of stopping. In fact, if she didn't find it soon, she might literally attempt to turn the library upside down. Oh, fuck.
Oh, crap.
Let's not go that far, Twi.
Yeah, we already had Trixie going magic duel on it.
Twilight, it's just a book. Calm down!
Spike yelped in terror and dropped to the floor as Twilight's prized bust of Tim the Enchanter came hurtling past and out the nearest window in a cacophony of shattering glass. A loud bang from the center of the room implied that Twilight had now flipped over the round, solid ironwood table that she sometimes used as an impromptu workbench. Fucking tables!
Okay, Twilight, I know you love books, but goddamn!
The dragon winced as he imagined the kind of dent that thing would have just put in the floor and rubbed his claws against his temple as he felt another familiar stress migraine coming on. He stuck a quick glance over his protective wall of books to find that the unicorn was now frantically digging through the small filing cabinet beside her writing desk, as if a 1,000-page hardcover book would even fit in there. Spike sighed and hunkered back down behind the pile of books, taking some comfort in the fact that she was no longer hurling heavy objects around anymore. The files would probably last her a couple minutes, giving him some breathing room to try and find the book himself. A cursory examination of the room quickly turned up the tome she was looking for. A hardcover, fully annotated version of A Field Study on the Regenerative Capabilities of Hydras, Volume 3, propped up against the wall.
Hydras?
Ooh.
Hydras. It had probably been flung there by her initial explosive panic attack, as usually happen in these situations. Of course. The dragon darted out from behind his shelter and scooped up the book. Not a moment too soon, either. Twilight had just picked up the filing cabinet with her magic and was carelessly dumping the contents onto the floor. Jesus!
Dang!
What's the matter with
Calm
her?
down!
When it was empty, she gave a frustrated groan and flung it aside, where it landed an inch from an antique germane armchair and instead demolished the magic end table. Jesus!
I'm also questioning that somehow there is a Germany in Equestria now.
Yeah. Spike managed to get her just as she was attempting to rip her desk out of the floor. Oh, Jesus,
Rip her
man!
desk?
Oh dear.
Thankfully,
Okay.
due to the delicate equipment she kept in her drawers, Twilight had the foresight to rivet it to a block of concrete buried a meter below the floor. Thank God.
Uh-huh.
But it was still painfully clear that it wouldn't hold for long, and so Spike wasted no time in leaping onto Twilight's back, yanking on her mane as hard as he could, and jamming the book in her face. The unicorn paused, eyes scanning the title, mouthing the words emblazoned on the cover in gold leaf. Then she gave a satisfied, "That's you," and wrapped the book in her magic, trotting off to her workbench, which, apart from the quill embedded in the wood, was remarkably untouched. Well then.
Okay.
Okay then.
Spike let out a sigh of relief and grimly surveyed the interior of the library. Luckily, the force of the ironwood table's upending had been cushioned by several of Twilight's first editions, and the hardwood floors seemed unscathed. Unfortunately, the first editions themselves didn't seem quite so lucky. The side window had been completely obliterated by the bust, the filing cabinet was now sporting some nice dents, and the antique end table, well, calling it kindling now would have been generous. At least the 9 1/4-inch catadioptric telescope, which had set them back nearly 2,000 bits, had been spared. Oh my gosh, Twilight!
What is the matter with you?
Dear Lord.
Twilight, of course, was completely oblivious of the mess she had just created, and was happily poring through the field study, making occasional notes on a scrap of paper with a quill that had recently been embedded in the desk. After a moment, she frowned at something in the book and started flipping through a sheaf of notes.
Spike, could you pass me that copy of Cell Anagenesis? Something here doesn't really make sense.
The dragon directed a morose look at the book in question, which was currently being crushed under 300 pounds of ironwood.
Ooh. What is the matter with her?
Yeah.
I'll, get right on it. Twilight looked over, spying the copy, and chuckled.
I know what you're thinking, Hercules. Don't even try it.
A purple aura surrounded the table, and it flipped back to its proper orientation and position. Spike bent over and picked up the book, frowning at the crushed spine. To be honest, he wasn't thinking about moving the table at all. In his current temperament, he was more inclined to just burn the thing. Yeesh.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Twilight looked over, spying... Oh, excuse me, I read the same thing twice. As he walked over, book in claw, Twilight looked around, seeming to notice for the first time what a mess she'd made of the library. Finally!
Wow. Looks like I really went to town this time.
She smiled awkwardly at Spike, who had folded his arms across his chest and was tapping a foot impatiently. I know. I'll be cleaner this time, I promise. Oh, that's you, sorry.
Oh, I know. I'll help you clean up this time, I promise.
Spike sighed. You owe me some turquoise for this, he grumbled, slamming the book onto her workbench and going off to retrieve the bust. Twilight flipped the book to its appropriate page and started reading. From outside, you could hear Spike grunting and biting back a string of extremely colorful obscenities. She had another chat with Rainbow Dash about her language, while he tried to extricate the bust from where it was lodged in the burrow of a very irate badger.
What?
The bust ended up in the burrow of a very angry badger.
Ow.
Yeah. Twilight turned around... Excuse me. A pang of guilt touched her heart as she turned another page. Spike shouldn't be saddled with cleanup duty. It was her mess after all. Adoy!
Yeah.
Twilight turned around and surveyed the library. The absolute least she could do was get that filing cabinet straightened up. As for the end table, well, she'd never liked that old thing anyway. She quickly swept up the papers she'd shaken out of the filing cabinet and began shoving them into their respective folders. Invoices and bills went into the blue folder, future checklists and notes to self in the red folder. The unicorn smiled as she brought herself together a bundle of copied friendship reports. She began collecting them after the Discord incident, after inventing an enchantment that transcribed what Spike was writing on a separate piece of parchment. What? She's just full of magic.
Yeah.
Good
I think a
Lord.
little too much personally for her own good.
She quickly scanned over the most recent one, which she, or rather Spike, had written the previous day. It detailed her account of a minor incident in which Twilight had assumed all Griffins had personalities and temperament similar to Gilda, who ended up being a less than sterling example. Rainbow Dash, who had happened to have known several Griffins other than Gilda, she hadn't been impressed, to say the least. Thankfully, Rarity had been present at the time and was able to mediate the situation before it came to blows.
Dear Princess Celestia.
Okay.
The letter read,
Today I learned that you can't judge an entire group based on what you've seen from one individual. I made the mistake of assuming all Griffins were like Gilda, and ended up paying for it. They're actually quite nice, and...
For a moment, she could only stare at the parchment. Oh, excuse me. Twilight frowned. Something in that last sentence looked off. She quickly reread the passage again.
They're actually quite nice.
For a moment, she could only stare at the parchment, her mouth hanging open in shock before finally... she found her voice. Oh, boy. Outside, Spike jumped as Twilight's voice tore through the air. A happy consequence of this was that he finally dislodged the bust from the burrow, much to the relief of the badger attempting to show the dragon the error of his ways by blunting its teeth on his armored scales. Oh my god!
This is crazy!
While the badger was convinced its efforts were actually accomplishing something, it was resulting in a severe pain in its lower jaw. Spike thought, his eyes widening. Oh, Celestia, did you find those Playmare magazines? I knew I should have gotten rid of those. What?
Playmare?
Playmare?
Yes.
First it's Gentle Quarterly, now it's Playmare? What is with Spike? Is he getting a worse porn addiction than I do?
Well, he does like rarity, so...
He ran to the front door, keeping it... What?
I'm assuming he wants some inspiration.
He ran to the front door, keeping his face blank. Keep it cool. Just try to play dumb. Don't give her any ammunition. Yes? Yes, poking his head to the door. Twilight jammed the letter in his face, simmering with rage. Uh-oh.
What is this?
It took the dragon a panic moment to realize it was not a Playmare magazine being held an inch away from his nose. It was Twilight's most recent friendship report. He breathed a quick sigh of relief before responding. A friendship report?
I know what it is. Read the third sentence in the first paragraph.
Spike read the relevant passage, frowning. I don't know what's...
They're actually quite nice. That's the
Twilight
wrong
shrieked.
homonym. That's the wrong homonym entirely. There denotes a place. They are, the correct version, is a contraction of they are, and denotes possessive qualities. Oh, she's a grammar Nazi!
No!
If she was a grammar Nazi, why did she make that error?
I have no idea. Yeah, sorry, I was just grabbing a pillow for my chair. Yeah.
Oh, great. We know
Oh,
that.
boy.
What's going on?
Nitpicky Twilight.
What?
A nitpicky Twilight.
Yes.
Continue.
Yes, ma'am.
The dragon scowled at her.
The dragon scowled at her. First she turned the library upside down, and now this? Twilight, it's a simple mistake.
Maybe.
The unicorn said, turning away and flinging the letters down on a work table.
But this was a letter to the princess. Everything I sent to her has to be perfect.
Couldn't
She
you write
stamped a
another?
hoof with the last word, jostling an inkwell on a nearby table. Spike gently pinched the bridge of his nose between his claws. Remember what happened the last time you panicked like this? If I hadn't talked to the princess, you probably would have destroyed... Oh, so this takes place after Lesson 0.
Oh,
Of
well.
course. Of course, Spike, you're a genius.
Ponyville. I'm sorry, what? Twilight looked away and began pacing back and forth.
I can send a letter to the princess explaining that it was a mistake, and then she won't banish me to the dark side of the moon. What?
Okay, number one.
She's not
You
gonna
could
banish you for a spelling error.
Okay, number one. You haven't sent a letter yet. You could just write another one, or you can try to, I don't know, have some sort of whiteout and correct the error.
Yeah, she's not gonna banish you for a spelling or grammar mistake.
Pretty much.
And besides, even if she were to make a mistake, I'm pretty sure the princess knew what you would have meant.
Mm-hmm. Spike folded his arms. And where did you hear she might do that?
Well,
The unicorn
okay.
paused.
Well, okay, maybe that won't happen, but I have to try to reason with her.
Twilight, she probably didn't even notice.
But what if she did? What if she's waiting to see if I'll do anything? What if she's...
Spike clapped his claws over her mouth, cutting her off. Twilight, relax.
I'm sorry, Spike. I just get so worked up sometimes. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Tell me about
Girl,
it.
it's all the time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I still need to clear this up. A mistake like that is inexcusable. It's not that bad. God.
Oh, listen to this. With that, she trotted off to her workbench and retrieved a piece of parchment.
Oh.
Hopefully she write it right this
Oh,
time.
okay. Dear Princess Celestia, it has come to my attention that there was a minor error in my last friendship report. I wish to apologize for said error and pass along my assurances that it will not happen again. Your faithful student, Twilight Sparkle. There we go. Now, if you just send it, we can put this whole mess behind us.
What mess?
Ugh.
Spike rolled his eyes and blew out a tongue of flame, sending the letter on its way. Now, can we get started on cleaning up on this library? Twilight glanced at the piles of books behind her.
Where am I? Wait. Oh, how about you take a break? It's my mess after all.
Twilight, are you feeling okay? What about your project?
Oh, the project can wait. It's the least I can do for averting potential disaster.
Oh, here we go. It's gonna be like this. Well, Spike was about to point out that using the wrong word was just about the farthest possible thing from disaster when he felt a familiar feeling in his gut. Already? He thought with vague surprise, as he belched out a tongue of green flame from which appeared a sealed scroll. Twilight's ears perked up.
Gimme!
She squeaked and snatched the scroll out of the air.
My dearest Twilight, I looked over your last French report, but I can't seem to find the error you mentioned. There really wasn't any need to point it out to me anyway. Everybody makes mistakes every now and then, and besides, I'm sure a minor error in a French report won't change its message after all. Ha!
Oh, guys, you are not gonna like this.
What?
She jerked her eyes back along the sentence.
Won't change. It is message.
Her eye twitched. Oh, fuck.
She gone grammar Nazi.
Twilight? Twilight, you're looking all weird again. She ignored him, scrubbing at the offending apostrophe with magic, hoping that it was perhaps a fleck of dust that had fallen on the page. Twilight?
Oh.
That failing, the unicorn scanned the sentence again, hoping she had just missed some sort of context that made it correct. But there was no other possibility. Staring her in the face was the worst sort of grammatical blasphemy, a mockery of everything any literate pony held dear.
Spike?
She heard herself say, in a tone that seemed absurdly calm to her.
Get me every record you have of my previous correspondence with the princess.
What's that supposed to account?
Spike? Please.
What's going on?
I think she's getting angry again, Gonzo. I'm scared.
I'm wondering what Twilight is thinking.
Why don't you find out and read it, inverted?
Yes, ma'am. In her mind, something was taking shape. To her knowledge, Celestia had never made an error of any kind. Like Twilight, she praised the written word in all its forms, and regarded any sort of error in that field as inexcusable.
Oops.
To find one here, it meant something
damn
had
it.
changed. Not only that, but she had all but ignored Twilight's admission of a mistake. Surely that sort of thing was tantamount to the highest form of treason, wasn't it?
I've got it!
That's me.
But oh, sorry, go ahead.
I got it! Spike piped up, carrying a massive armload of scrolls. But I really have no idea why...
Thank you, Spike.
She said coolly, beginning to rifle through the scrolls. It was a massive undertaking, but she had to be sure. Even after skimming the first few scrolls, her certainty deepened. Every letter was written in their mentor's familiar, absurdly precise penmanship. The letters flow with a nitpicking precision that would be nearly impossible to duplicate, and there wasn't a single mistake among them. What was it that Applejack sometimes said? There's a first for everything? But maybe.
Yes.
But if there was one thing she'd learned, it was every rule had exceptions. Without another word, she turned and headed to the door. Twilight, where are you going?
I need to think. I need to think.
Spike frowned but let her go. A moment after the door closed behind her, though, he bent and picked up the scroll from where it had been discarded on the floor. His eyebrows met as he scanned the parchment and came across the improperly used apostrophe. She's getting worked up about an apostrophe? There was only one thing to do. A few moments later, Spike tapped a pencil against his chin. So apparently pencils exist in Equestria?
If they can write it with a quill, they can write it with a pencil.
Yep.
Wondering how to phrase the letter he was about to write. No point beating around the bush like he did when Twilight realized her latest friendship report was at risk of being tardy. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
But he
Yeah.
couldn't rightly say that she had gone stark raving mad again, mainly because she hadn't. This was just a precaution. Oh, God.
Oh dear. He's gonna mess up again, I know it.
Just hurry, Spike, before Twilight
It's
just goes nuts.
Dear Princess Celestia, Twilight's been acting weird again. I think it has something to do with the finding an error in your last letter. You used an apostrophe incorrectly or something. The dragon blinked and its thoughts went fuzzy, as if someone had just thrown a thick woolen blanket over his brain. For an instant, when viewed from the corner of the eye, it looked like a shadow of some sort was standing behind him, a twisted, spindly thing that was a mockery of the equine shape. Then the moment passed, and it was gone.
What?
Spike frowned. What had he been doing again? Right. He picked up the pencil again and continued writing. Anyway, I'm getting worried about it. Did you calm down? He frowned. How many R's were there in worried again? And was there supposed to be an E on the end of come? Oh, shit.
Oh, crap.
What's going on?
Spike shook his head. It had to be right. Twilight had been spent uncountable hours drilling him on proper spelling and grammar. Maybe it was just the stress of nearly being murdered by an enraged badger. It was messing with his thinking. Look at me. I'm starting to act like Twilight. The dragon quickly breathed a gout of flame over the scroll, sending it to the princess. Then he turned and surveyed the library. Looked like he was stuck cleaning it up all anyway.
Oh, dear.
That'll be one of those stories.
What's going on with them two?
Uh-oh.
Let's head on to Chapter 2. It would be nice to say that all was quiet in the halls of Canterlot Castle, specifically the halls directly outside of Princess Celestia's private chambers. Unfortunately, this was not to be the case, as the current acting captain of the guard was praying the Solar Princess a not-so-clandestine visit.
What?
The guards outside their princess's chambers had to stand at attention, fighting to maintain neutral expressions, as the admittedly distracting sounds of the unofficial meeting drifted out from behind the doors. In all honesty, just the fact that the two Pegasi managed to remain at their posts, as the all-too-familiar grunting and slapping sounds echoed through the halls, could be considered an accomplishment. Excuse me. The one on the right was trying especially hard to ignore the sounds and focus on just about anything else. At the moment, he was unsuccessfully trying to distract himself by counting the tiles in the floor's mosaic pattern. At the very moment that he completed one of the arcs of flame branching out from the stylized sun, a scroll appeared in front of him in a gout of green flame, making him lose his count. Both guards stared at the scroll for a moment, then looked at each other, then at the doors of Celestia's chambers. "Your turn," one on the right said. "I did it last time! Get your facts straight! Well, the one time I had to deliver that missive while you were conveniently out with the feathered flu. I was actually sick!" After a moment, the guard on the right sighed heavily. "Fine. I can see there's only one way to sell this." "Hoof wrestle?" "No, you idiot." The right-hand guard snapped, fishing a single bit out of his pocket. "Oh." The other replied as the guard flipped the coin in the air and caught it deftly on his ankle, covering it with his other foreleg. "Call it." "Heads." "It's tails." "But, Bull, let me see that." The guard snatched his coin from his comrade and studied it intently for a moment. Finally, he swore, tossed the coin back, and snatched the scroll off the ground. "If I get mooned, I'm blaming you."
What?
If I get mooned, I'm blaming you.
Okay.
A brief scuffle could be heard from inside the room before a male voice called, "This better be important! A letter from the princess," the guard responded. After a brief pause, the door opened, revealing a sweaty and flushed Celestia.
I'll take that.
She said, grabbing the dramatic and levitating its other chambers. "What?"
Damn it. It's acting up again. Hold on. Seems to be doing that. I don't know why.
The guard peeking around her and noticing Aspis, the acting captain, while Shining Armor was on his honeymoon, standing in a corner as flush as the princess. "I hope you weren't too busy," the guard said dryly.
Not at all. We were just about to finish our second round.
Second round? Wait, what?
Second
The
round.
guard...
Can you, okay. Could you repeat that last part for us?
We were just about to finish our second round.
And would Inverted Shadow continue?
Please!
Okay. The guard made a face and stuck a pleading glance at his comrade.
Oh,
That's
you can watch if you want.
unless you continued warmly. I'll pass, the guard replied, his voice shaking. The alicorn
Have it-
shrugged.
Have it your way.
She said, turning back to the ping pong table at the center of the room. Cock block!
It was just.
What was the score again?
She called to Aspis. 10 billion to 1 in my favor, the unicorn replied.
It is not.
I keep track. Celestia was just about to launch into a fierce rebuttal, but her acting captain cut her off. What's the letter? The alicorn frowned. In all honesty, she hadn't even looked at it. It was likely some notice from a noble, demanding an audience or something equally tiresome. With a heavy sigh, she retrieved the scroll from where she flung it carelessly into a corner, loath to spend even a moment away from her game. However, the moment she took a closer look at the parchment, I noticed a slight charring around the edges that it was indicated of dragon fire. Her yearning for a good game of ping pong was driven from her head.
Another one? Why would she...
Aspis moved toward the door, recognizing the expression on Celestia's face. Shall I take my leave, then? He asked with stiff formality once again. Celestia took a moment to finish reading the letter before responding.
Yes, I'm sorry, Aspis, but I'm afraid I have to cut our match short. Shall we call it a draw?
Something wrong? Aspis said, stiffening. I can deploy a contingent of heavy cavalry if you...
That won't be necessary. At least I hope not. My people just need some... Well, let's say she needs some guidance.
No shit!
All right.
Some guidance!
What?
Yeah,
Some
some
guidance.
Her acting captain nodded in understanding. Shall I prepare a carriage? Celestia smiled and flared her wings.
Let's see... Oh, I do have these, Captain.
Ooh.
What?
Aspis sighed.
The
You know I
wings.
can't let you go without an escort, Your Highness.
I suppose I'll just have to sneak out then.
Ooh.
Hi, Celestia. This is so urgent that you had to make your way through. My.
Celestia launched off the ground and dived through an open window before her acting captain would even say a word. By the time he opened his mouth, all there was to chastise a single white feather bobbing on the edges of air.
Hold on.
Um,
Come on. What is the matter with you? I clear everything up. I lower the quality. What the hell is wrong with you?
What's going on?
Oh, either Skype or Procaster being a bitch. Let's hurry it up. Why don't we try to finish this up? And on second thought, how about we try to get a little bit further and then call it a night?
Yeah.
Alright. Spike glanced up from his book as the door swung open. Library's closed, he called out.
It's me.
Twilight said as he walked through the door. The dragon frowned, glancing outside. The sun had barely moved. You're back already? It's been, what, 5 minutes?
Something wrong?
Twilight asked. No, it's just, you said you needed to think, and I thought... Twilight smiled.
No, Spike. There's nothing to think about. I just needed to clear my head. I barely even went around the block.
Well then. Spike blinked, momentarily stymied. If he knew Twilight at all, that a grammatical error from her mentor should have sent her into a state of complete panic. It had sent her into a state of barely restrained panic.
I was getting myself all worked up over nothing.
Twilight continued, shoving a biology textbook Spike had missed, mainly due to it having stood under a table.
So I decided to just take a walk to focus my thoughts and realize just how silly I was being. Wow.
Again, no shit.
She's surprisingly calm.
Something
So-
tells me this is some sort of ruse.
Yeah, something tells me she's going to be a ticking time bomb.
Spike ventured, so you're okay with Celestia making a mistake? Twilight surprised him by chuckling.
Oh, Spike, she didn't make a mistake. She never makes mistakes. Once I realized that there was only one logical answer.
Alarm bells immediately started ringing in Spike's head. He knew she was being too calm. Any second now would come the wild, illogical assumption, and then the...
She must have been in the middle of her weekly ping pong match with Captain Aspis and just dictated the letter to someone else. She didn't make the mistake. Whoever transcribed the letter did.
Huh?
What?
I think I might be right. She had a ping pong table match, and, well, it might have been transcribed, and the guy didn't know what the hell he was doing.
It took a moment for her words to register. Spike managed. That actually made sense. In a bizarre, grasping at straws sort of way, but as long as she wasn't convinced her fundamental understanding of grammar was incorrect.
I'm just glad I realized I wasn't doing before I embarrassed myself. So, how about we keep this between us?
Yeah, about that? Twilight ignored him and strode over to the window.
You know, I can't even imagine what the princess would think if she knew I freaked out about something silly as that. Magic kindergarten might be a little far-fetched, but I can see a whole lot of annoying psychological evaluations coming out of that.
Oh boy.
I got a bad feeling.
Me too.
A frown crossed her features as that last sentence. It seemed that wherever she went, there was some so-called professional yapping at her about delusions or obsessional behavior, or some other such nonsense. It was downright irritating at times. Spike, meanwhile, swallowed nervously and wiped some sweat from his brow. I guess. The forced chuckle he gave out trailed off as he detected movement through one of the windows. Something large and white had just landed in front of the... Oh, shit.
Oh, crap.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. A moment later, there was a knock on the door.
Oh, now who could that be?
Twilight said, refusing to let anything disrupt her good mood. Before Spike could even wince in anticipation, she opened the door.
Good after...
She began. Then she saw her mentor standing before her, and her expression instantly flashed to horror as she made a dozen connections at once. To her credit, she managed something that sounded vaguely like... which, depending on the language, could be interpreted as, "One moment, please," before slamming the door and wheeling on her assistant.
Spike, why is Princess Celestia at my door?
Lie to her!
You guys, listen to this. Listen to this. Well, I may have gotten a little worried and sent a letter asking her to come down here.
You what?
Ah! I thought it was a good idea. You were acting funny again, and I thought it would be best not to take any chances. Trying to take a deep breath, her mind racing.
Wait. Oh, okay. This might not be all bad. Maybe I can convince her you were just inviting her for tea.
I specifically mentioned that it was because you were acting strangely, Spike replied.
Spike?
Twilight moaned, putting her hooves over her eyes. A series of knocks sounded from the other side of the door. Celestia's voice called...
Twilight? Dear Harmony, I just slammed the door in Princess Celestia's face! Okay, focus. You can fix this. Maybe I can pretend nobody's here. No, that's ridiculous. She already saw me. And every second I wait just makes it worse. Maybe I can convince her that it was a mistake?
I hope so.
Hopefully.
Twilight took another moment to plaster a smile on her face and swung the door open.
My Princess Celestia! What a surprise! Can I get you anything? Is there any reason why you slammed the door in my face a moment ago?
Celestia blinked unamused. Twilight's smile cracked.
I thought you were some pony else. There's this door-to-door sales pony who just doesn't take a hint, and I, thought you were him, then,
Oh, boy. To her immense relief, the princess seemed to buy her pathetic explanation.
So, what brings you out here? Spike sent me a letter saying you were getting worked up over something. He seemed to think it was serious enough to require my presence. Did he? Oh, that's Spike. What a kidder! I didn't get the impression that he was joking. Well, you know dragons. Sometimes when he's had too much amethyst, is everything all right? You look nervous. Nervous? I'm not nervous. Well,
Twilight scoffed, and aware that her right eye had begun twitching violently. Oh,
well, you can see that there's nothing wrong here. I know you're having important things to do, Argon, and...
Twilight left her mouth on autopilot, her mind racing.
Stop buying it! This isn't working, but I can't back out now. I was looking like an idiot. I should just explain what was going on. Stupid Twilight. I've known you for years. I can tell when something's bothering you.
And then just steel opened her voice.
Or when you're lying. Don't be ridiculous!
Uh-oh.
She's had. Just let it. Just
I
tell
won't
her.
lie to you. What is silly?
Oh! For Pete's sake, make it stop! Spike howled. Both Twilight and Celestia turned to him, with the former frantically making shut-up gestures, the latter frowning in consternation. Spike took a breath. All right. Yes, I sent you a letter because Twilight was acting strangely. No, there didn't end up being a problem, and if she's acting oddly now, it's because you showed up completely unannounced, and she's terrified of making a bad impression. Now, can we please just forget about this and turn it into an ordinary visit? Silence reigned in the library for a brief moment.
That's it. I'm dead. Is this
Celestia
true?
turned to her.
Is
Twilight
this...
nodded shakily, not trusting herself to speak. The alicorn was left silent for a long, agonizing moment. Finally, she turned to her pupil.
Well, Twilight, you left me no choice.
Uh-oh! Oh, no. She paused for a moment longer, almost as if for dramatic effect.
We'll just have to pretend that this is a scheduled visit.
What?
I'm sorry! I'll do anything to suit. Just don't... Huh? You're not in trouble. You can relax now.
Celestia's words were the very definition of redundant. Huh? Twilight was, at that very moment, doing her best not to sink to the floor in relief. If such a thing were even physically possible, she was sure she would be doing that. But as it stood, she had to settle for a barely audible sigh.
Now, if I might ask, what kind of behavior was Spike so concerned about? Oh, I don't think we need to go into that.
Why not? It's actually pretty funny when you look back on it, Spike said.
Please
Well,
explain to.
Fine.
Twilight said, stifling a chuckle. Now that she thought about it, it was a little funny. Of course, she had no way of anticipating that what was about to happen. If she had, she likely would have clapped both hooves over her ears and began loudly singing Waltzing Matilda, regardless of what immediate consequences that would have resulted in. In reality, every instinct was screaming at her to change the topic and move on. Unfortunately, her brain was so drowned in relief that everything seemed to have been resolved, that her instincts were little more than a distant fly buzzing in her ear.
I thought you'd made a mistake in the letter that you sent me a little while ago, which was ridiculous because you never make mistakes. Funny, huh? Which one? You mean that letter I penned about an hour ago? Yes, that one, which was a mistake Spike made. In fact, isn't that
Her voice trailed off as Celestia's words sunk in.
You penned that letter yourself? Of course I did. You're my pupil after all. Having one of my scribes pen a letter to you would be downright insulting. But...
Uh-oh.
But that means... That means what?
Celestia asked, frowning.
Is there something wrong? You're starting to sweat again. Oh,
Twilight
nothing.
shook her head, forcing her features to remain neutral.
Nothing, just one of those hot summer breezes. Tell you what, how about you show me this letter? We can lay both our concerns to rest.
Spike was already there with the scroll in his claws, eyes flicking nervously around Twilight. It's here, he said cautiously.
Ah.
Celestia said, unrolling the scroll. Her eyes quickly scanned it for a heart-stopping period, at the end of which she shrugged.
I see nothing. But look here!
She thumped her hoof down on the infernal its.
The apostrophe shouldn't be here!
Celestia peered closely at it for a moment, then she laughed.
What do you know? You're right. I didn't even think about that. But what? You never make mistakes! How could you? Twilight, I had penned that letter immediately after a very intense round of table tennis. I think I could be forgiven for an apostrophe in the wrong place. I guess. If it makes you feel better, I was losing the game you interrupted quite badly. I had some difficulty focusing.
Twilight's ears went flat as a surge of guilt swept through her.
I interrupted your weekly match with Aspis? If I'd known, I wouldn't have... Don't worry. I said I wasn't losing, didn't I? Now, was there anything else you want to talk about? Not really.
Twilight said, without really paying attention. For some reason, she couldn't quite shake the nagging suspicion that something was off. Oh, come on.
Well then, if you'll excuse me, I have a match to get back to, and a 30-point stretch to make up.
She paused for a moment, noting that Twilight still seemed distracted.
If there's anything you need to talk about, I'm here for you. Just remember that. Sure. Don't let me keep you.
After the princess had left, Twilight turned to Spike.
Well, that went better than I thought it would.
The dragon folded his arms. What were you worried about? The town's in one piece, both of us are in one piece, and the issue that you'd worked up wasn't an issue at all.
That about covers it. And you're right. I had nothing to worry about. I can't just shake the feeling that something's not right.
Relax, Twilight. You're overreacting, or whatever that word is.
Overreacting.
Twilight corrected offhandedly. She turned and peered closely at his assistant.
Are you alright? You've been looking odd ever since I got back.
It's nothing. Just a bit of fog in my head. I might take a nap later on, actually.
Do that.
Twilight said. Once again, she had the overwhelming feeling that something was wrong. But she shook her head.
Oh, look at me. Getting stressed over nothing again.
And so a unicorn continued with her life, putting aside her concerns. A princess returned to her nation's capital satisfied. And a force, dormant for so many years and only now stirring, reconsidered its plans, reconsidered and resolved to watch closely to see what the lavender unicorn would do next.
What was that?
Yeah. We'll save the rest for our next stream.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. I take it that we're stopping here for now, and that we're just going to continue on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way how it ended, it just seemed off,
Mm-hmm.
for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
Just off.
Very.
Yeah.
But
All right.
the thing is, I really can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, I think after I'm gonna call it a night because really.
Yeah, you're getting
scares me
tired.
there.
Yeah. And I don't want to think too much about the ending. I might lose sleep over that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll see you people, us Fiddlers 3 again some other time.
Yeah, we'll try sometime later this week, maybe.
Yeah. See you around.
Bye bye.
Alright. And might as well just call it a night on this, because it's just another one of those moments where we're gonna. Yeah, God, I'm a little dizzy. Yeah. Anyways, gonna deal with all that shit. Might get started on collecting whatever molestia I want to do. Might have to just skip a whole bunch of months so that way we can be able to be up to date on what or whatnot. And well, we'll just see you tomorrow.